the US position on various fronts around the world. We have seen in the last 47 days what they have done with Venezuela, and right now with Iran. One is determined in not allowing Iran having this innovation or the technologies involved in enriching uranium to build nuclear made weapons, whereas Iran has the whole determination as a sovereign nation to develop technology as they seem fit. So the negotiations has been held in Geneva, and of course the US President said that he'll be involved indirectly. I think that is a play of words. I want to understand what are the vibes that you are seeing from these events.
You see, the negotiations started in Oman initially, and these were indirect negotiations. They did not sit face to face because Iran did not want to sit with them. So the Omanis were actually interacting as interlocutors. They had a good, at least a good round, first round. Now the point is that it is not the American position that is in play. The problem is that I don't know if America Middle Eastern policy or foreign policy is their indigenous policy, or it is a policy which is run by Israel. In as much as I am concerned, I have a feeling that Mr. Trump is nobody. In as much as the Middle Eastern policy is concerned, it's run by the Zionists within the American deep state, and they only follow what is instructed by Netanyahu. Now these people, especially in the government in Israel, they are mostly East European immigrants. Netanyahu is not the name, his name is something else. They have taken new names in Israel when they came here, you see. He is Polish. So these are the people who are creating problems in Middle East. Now Iran will never give up. Iran is ready to go for a fight with the United States and Israel if it be so. Reason being that they have put two conditions, the Americans, the Israelis, whatever you may say, they are the same. Condition is they should give up their uranium enrichment and they should give up their missile programs. So the discussion that they want to have is that the missile program, even if they continue, its range has to be limited to an extent that it cannot reach Israel. This will never happen. Number two, in as much as the uranium enrichment program is concerned, yes, there can be some discussions on this. Maybe a percentage of their enriched uranium may be shifted out to a friendly country of Iran, or maybe Russia or China. So it's not an easy negotiations, and the Iranians are ready for a fight. The Americans have made themselves vulnerable by putting in two of their big aircraft carriers.
Yes, the Gerald Ford and the Abraham Lincoln.
Right. Now they are vulnerable because Iran is in a position to ambush both of them and destroy both of them. If that happens, then I do not know what the situation will be. Number two, the Iranian missiles are capable of destroying Israel totally. Now if Israel wants to be annihilated, then they should go to war. Otherwise, they should work for peace, and if possible making certain changes in the earlier agreement in which everybody was involved, America, China, Russia, everybody signed the Jacobs
Board of Peace that came in.
So I think they should go back to it, maybe make a certain amendment here and there. Otherwise, I am bracing for a war in the Middle East, and if that happens, the Strait of Hormuz will close, oil shipments will stop, prices of oil per barrel would shoot like nobody's business, it would go off the roof, absolutely it would go off the roof. So I think Trump and the American administration should be more careful. Now Trump is pushing for this at this stage. he wants to show something to his electorate, because the elections are coming, and in the elections it appears, because what he has done domestically with these immigrants, ICE and other things, there is a likelihood that the ship of the Republicans would sink and Democrats would be up there. That would put Trump in an even bizarre position, because in that case they might come up with impeachment, Trump's impeachment, or they might even go for the 25th Amendment to the Constitution, because many are now saying that Trump is incapable, he is incapacitated mentally because of his physical health.
Of course, very interesting updates coming up regarding Donald Trump, of course, regarding Israel and Iran. You had mentioned Israel and how they are still holding this kind of annexation towards the West Bank. What we understand is the international media calls this the occupied West Bank. Well, the definitive direction occupying is what is going on. And as you ended your statement that he is decapitated to some level of extent, we've seen that with the previous president Joe Biden as well. He used to fall asleep and had multiple ailing conditions in his decision making. So that is a very important issue. Also, there is one issue that is coming out that from Israel, 4 people were killed on Sunday evening in an Israeli drone strike targeting vehicle in the eastern Lebanese town of Majad Anja near the Lebanese-Syrian border, despite a ceasefire. Clearly, they do not understand what a ceasefire exists of. Of course, on the other side, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and the Arab League on Monday, which was yesterday, condemned the illegal Israeli measures to register large lands of the occupied West Bank as state property, warning the move undermines efforts to establish peace in the region and calling for urgent international action. And as you were saying, that the Iranian missile program seems to be taking off, and in the recent times it has attacked the Haifa port in Israel, as we saw, as a part of the 12-day war. And you were definitely correct to say this, that you predict a warlike situation coming out of the Middle East. 2 US carriers are in the region. And yes, the things that you said about the market, about the crude fuel industry, the fossil fuel industry, the price of per barrel will go up. That will definitely not make America great again, even after having the access to Venezuelan oil reserves. But one thing that is of huge significance here is that the Saudi side, Saudi Arabia, is also known for an oil exporting nation, and they have said that their land and air and all of these assets shall not be used in any kind of coordination with the US side. So even some of these Arab nations are saying that we cannot entertain a war of this scale in this region, and is turning away from the US. So how do you see this Arab nations change of tone suddenly as these 2 carriers are in their seas?
Well, you see, Saudi Arabia has taken a stance, which is okay. Qatar is also taking a stance. Problem is with UAE. The problem is with UAE. UAE is being run by this second son of Zayed Al Nahyan, who is totally controlled by the Israelis. And it is this man who has started wars, who has destroyed Sudan, this UAE. UAE is supporting, financing, funding and supplying all kinds of arms and ammunitions to the RSF or whatever the other forces.
Support forces. They're the rapid support forces.
The rapid support forces. And it is because of this that Sudan today stands in this big turmoil where the civilian life is at risk. You know what this RSF did in Darfur recently. I mean, so this is all, UAE has to take the responsibility for all this. UAE has created problems in Yemen. I mean, I'm surprised what kind of Muslims they are. They're criminals, absolute out and out criminals. This UAE ruling family, or this president of UAE, out and out criminal. He is also responsible for problems being created by the Israelis and the Indians in Balochistan. They are also responsible. This UAE and Israelis are also responsible for the TTP funding. Host and Kunar, I think, these two provinces where TTP is there, they are being funded by the Indians and by them. So I think if you need peace, UAE has to change its character. UAE must understand that this is not how international relations are conducted. They have to change themselves. They have to chain Israel also. They have to chain Israel, because Israel is acting freely in UAE, which should not happen. So I think I am very critical of UAE, and I think the Arab nations should, in their summit, take this up and talk to UAE or send their forces and overthrow this government of UAE.
Of course.
It's a criminal government, absolutely criminal government.
Very important update coming from Advocate Mohsin Rashid. And I was doing some of this reading regarding the United Arab Emirates, 7 states which make up this nation. And of course, one of these states did call out the administration there because of having this friendly relationship with Israel that they have as a part of the Abraham Accords. So that's what it was called when the Western powers had tried to ask the Arab League and the Arab nations to understand what Israel is, to recognize what Israel is, instead of recognizing Palestine. But even in the UN General Assembly, we've seen how the people have walked out when Benjamin Netanyahu took to the mic and he had expansionist plans. It is giving me the signal that the Middle East is in a very volatile situation. As Advocate Mohsin Rashid was saying, that the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces of Sudan, has been militarily backed by the UAE government, and there is multiple sources and evidences that says so. And of course, they have
Also
been
Yemen.
also Yemen.
Yeah.
Yemen is also involved in this issue.
No, Yemen is not. UAE is involved in Yemen.
Yemen's issue, yes.
They have created the problems.
And UAE being a nation of the Middle East that sees itself on the same level of Qatar, because we know that Qatar and the UAE are major international transit points. Of course, the UAE denies this fact regarding the RSF.